handle the truth.
Alrighty, I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's make up the date like the government does, because they're here to help us. We're going to say it's December 23rd. It's a Tuesday, 2025. Thank you, government. I appreciate that. That's good for you. Or good for me. No, that's right. Yeah, we want to make sure that government's always involved in our lives every day. Says nobody. All right, a couple things going on in the world around us. Obviously, it is the Christmas holiday. We just had the new sun yesterday. I forgot to announce that to you guys. 21st was the shortest day of the year. Yesterday was the beginning of the new year, or the new sun going into the winter solstice of things. It's magic how it lines up, isn't it? All right, so going down into today, I did wear my Christmas sweater today. I'm not sure if you guys can see all the details, but this is the vest. It's actually a shirt, so these are like tattoo sleeve things that go with the shirt. And it's got like anyway, you can see it. So anyway, doing the ugly Christmas sweater portion of it today. So you guys get to be in the Festivus for the best of us. Remember, we can make up holidays just like the Seinfeld did, as well as other people have made up Kwanzaa and other things. So, wow, I got like a hair that's, what are you doing, man? Get out of there. All right. So, anyway, good to see everybody. Thank you for the great comments already. Thank you so much. Kathleen Buck in here already. Good to see you. Edward's killing it. Thank you. Tinny, all right. I don't know why that does that sometimes. It just decides it wants to be tinny, and other times it doesn't. So do a little reset on the head unit, or not head unit, the slide board unit. Anyway, so going down through the day's things, I wanted to go ahead and, there was an explosion in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, a mass casualty event. There was an explosion at a nursing home, and so that's a thing going on right now. That's kind of a tragedy of things going on right before Christmas here in a couple of days. Now, guys, remember, there was a whole thing that we were talking about a few years ago. Remember Georgia? Remember Fani Willis and her backwards dress coming in to testify that she wanted to make sure that she said what she had to say, and she's going to do the bigger. Well, anyway, that's what we're going to hear a little bit about that here. An underreported story from the past week was Fulton County. Remember, this is Fulton County. This is Fani and her lover, that whole thing with them going to the vineyards and different places on the company dime, and then he gets to charge 160 hours a week. So not only is he being able to charge single time, but he's going to be able to charge double time for himself. Pretty cool deal that she had going on there. Another reported story from last week was Fulton County damming admission. Listen, admission in one county alone. Now remember that we talked about the pallet of ballots that came from Arizona to Georgia, that they were printed in a printing company that had to do with one of the candidates back in 2020 that just happened to have a chicken farm that burnt down the exact same time a lot of this stuff was going on. And then they're saying that in something in the side of that chicken coop or that chicken fire were actual documents or actually ballots. Yeah, so that's a whole thing. So just kind of keep all this together in your mind's eye here in the string board of things. In an election that was decided by less than 11,000 votes or so in the Peach State, this is, again, an issue for us because remember, there's 315,000 and Trump only lost by 11,000. Remember that phone call that supposedly said he was asking for favors? Well, he said we were only a few thousand short. They were saying that was voter suppression or coercion or some type of voter fraud. But anyway, again, one could make the case that 2020 was the most razor-thin election in history because Biden's alleged margin of victory in 3 states was which mattered most to winning that race: Georgia, Arizona, and Wisconsin. These are 11,000 votes off, okay? 11,000. So this is, again, where we got that, we're razor thin, right? Between those three states, 42,000 votes, or a mere 13.6 of the total unauthorized votes. Yeah, guys, this is where it's going to really, I think we're going to end up having to go back in the 2020 election. I think we're going to have to go back and do some different adjudication stuff. We're going to have to figure out how to unwind the last 5 years of our life. The same article goes on to say Georgia election rules require the election officials have each ballot scanned the ballot scanner print 3 closing tabs at the end of each day. So in other words, every day they stop and they call the the total amount. What this represents is something millions of Americans, above all the president himself, have known for the last 5 years: a dramatic breach in public trust and dereliction of duty in Georgia. So again, remember Georgia was having a lot of problems with the whole water leak thing, the cardboard on the windows, the sudden flash drives going around, all these different things. The question of 2020, however, goes much deeper than simply a problem of election integrity. Similar to the autocratic reaction of the Democrats lawmakers to COVID, the bipartisan response to 2020 by leading members of the Uniparty on both sides of the aisle drove a dagger through the heart of American justice. See, this is where we're all going to get... Dave says 107 was singing 2020, it ain't over yet. Well, we all knew that, and I've talked about that ad nausea on this show. I've talked about voter integrity. I've at least had hundreds of voter integrity people on this show. I've talked about voter integrity as being a part of the issue that got us here, but a lot of people don't want to hear it. So instead, not only did the Democrats and their fellow travelers in the Republican establishment prevent public discussion on the results of the 2020 race completely, remember the whole Pence thing with the coin, with the certified vote, and the January 6th and the J6ers. See, we had the J6er controversy because we couldn't talk about the actual vote itself. We couldn't talk about what happened in Georgia or in Arizona. We couldn't talk about the thumb drives. Couldn't talk about the water leak supposedly having to shut everything down in the middle of the night. Again, this is where it's all coming apart. The president's legal team got on the phone with Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to inquire about exactly what had been uncovered and admitted to 5 years later by Fulton County. The president at the time wanted to ensure the electoral procedures were adequately followed. That is a perfectly reasonable inquiry to any election, but especially one in which the results were so close and many unprecedented changes were made. Rules were openly flouted, being one of them more shocking ones. I don't understand why they were doing this whole. I can't handle this. It was because of all the procedural changes. So again, they did things that will allow, they put certain laws and rules and regulations into the state election stuff to make sure that there was the ability for them to cheat. Let's just paraphrase the whole thing. And it's going around. I mean, we've seen this happen across the country. The president has a constitutional prerogative expressly stated in the text of Article 2 to take care that the nation's laws are faithfully executed. This means at a minimum, that during an election, particularly one that takes place during a once-in-a-century global pandemic, that we should take precautionary measures to ensure the changed electoral procedures were done, lawful, and in compliance with long-standing historical supported legal protocol. But because Georgia at the time was feeling massive public pressure to kowtow to the Democrat-supported interest groups, big tech companies, and blue and deep state actors who wanted to. I don't know who wrote this article. Why is it so choppy? Oh, it says Jim. Jim writes this way. I forgot this is. I always have a hard time reading his stuff out loud. Let's go on this, guys. Listen, we're fine. We're gonna go back and redo. We're gonna redo Georgia. How about that? Hey, Ken Reason, good to see you. It's kind of crazy. I could pick out who wrote these articles by how it's written, and I could tell how hard it is to read out loud. But it looks like 315 votes were unlawfully cast at minimum in Georgia. Now, here's some news that we may not like or whatever, but the Supreme Court on Tuesday kept the block on Trump's National Guard deployment in Chicago in place. The High Court rejected President Trump's request to halt the lower court's order in a 6-3 decision. Conservative Justice Gorsuch, Thomas, and Alito dissented. The Supreme Court on Tuesday rejected a bid by the Trump. The High Court left untouched a judge's decision blocking the government from putting National Guard members on the streets of Chicago and the surrounding areas. The Trump administration has argued the Supreme Court to allow the extraordinary move to deploy troops over the objection of Illinois' Democrat governor, arguing that the federal courts cannot second-guess a president's decision to call the National Guard into federal service. I think a lot of this, though, is going to be a lot of learned lessons for us to see how our government actually works, and the fact that there should be certain things that we can and cannot do within executive branches, but also the judicial and also legislative, but they don't exercise them the right way. They don't stand up for what their own job is. And so when we ask the judges to then make judgments, but then the problem is the legislator is not actually making the legislation accurate. They're saying, oh, we don't want voter suppression, we don't vote voter blah, 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 but then they don't explain what that is and what the cause and effect really would be, what the penalty phase is. A federal court in October issued a temporary restraining order blocking President Trump's National Guard deployment in Chicago. U.S. District Attorney April Perry, a Biden appointee, said Trump's deployment violates the Posse Comitatus, is that right? Act, as well as the 10th and 14th Amendment. Ooh, that's a lot. Whew, golly. The three-judge panel, including Rovner, Hamilton, and St. Ives, the appeals court agreed with the Judge Perry's assertion. Cool. In October, President Trump asked the Supreme Court to intervene, allow Trump to put the National Guard into Chicago. Now, they did not allow for that, but it looks like things will be changing on that very soon. So it was a stay, but not a don't ever go. So we'll see how that all comes apart. I did not get to see all of the Hunter Biden, Sean interview, Sean Ryan. I have not seen it all, but it seems like he is. Guys, I have a thing where I think that Hunter turned states as evidence, and he's been flipping on all these deep state actors for a long, long time. I think it has to do with the laptop. I think it has a lot to do with other things like that. So again, let's not jump to too many conclusions. But to me, it seems like he's gone state's evidence. Now he's out there running his mouth, but he's actually running his mouth on about both sides, talking about his dad, talking about the Democrats, talking about Trump. I mean, he just sounds like a very spoiled brat who doesn't like anything but himself. But what do I know? All right. Huge economic blow U.S. economy blows past expectations, grows a massive 4.3% in the third quarter. Well, again, this is a problem for the people who said that tariffs don't work, that the no taxes don't work, that all these things aren't what you think they should be. And the sad part of it is, it's like, we need to be less foot on the neck with our government taking their foot off of our neck. All right, we got here. Let's see. Comitas. Oh, well, I don't remember. I'm going to move on. Ken Reason says our elections need to have Kurt Angel's 3I intensity, integrity, and intelligence. Kurt Angel's 3 eyes. Oh, I thought you were like the 3-eye atlas that went by. By the way, what happened to the 3-eye atlas? I thought we were all supposed to take that spaceship home. That was where the aliens were sitting inside of there, and they were cruising by. And well, it came by a couple days ago, and nobody got on or nobody got off. So I guess we missed that train. We'll try for another one. Maybe it'll be the next time. Maybe the next one will be it. Hunter's pardon is the only pardon that was actually signed by Joe. Every other person was done by the auto pen. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that's not going to go down too well. So anyway, going down through the news of things, the sad part of it is I really think that we have a lot of great things going to happen here, but it is kind of getting muddled down with the propaganda. Guys, have you ever thought about why is it that the Associated Press, who is the Associated Press? Well, it's a bunch of independent journalists who happen to just, but who actually monitors the Associated Press? Who is actually the one that's actually doing the work on the Associated Press? Where do all those, are we sure that they're actually people, or are these just them making up stories, putting it into the Associated feed, and then we just have a lot of lazy radio, TV personalities going, in today's news, the government told me everything sucks and we should bend the knee. Pretty much. Yeah, there's a lot of those things out there. You can go out there and see. There's a lot of things you go out there and see that these propaganda machines are still pushing pretty hard. I don't know. When do we actually stop all that? It really is a kind of one of those things where you gotta. It's just exhausting. Oh, by the way, today I know that I was able to publish out on Facebook and other places like that, but sad part of it is I had to go in and I had to do some hocus pocus before the show. I was about a minute late trying to get in here, and sad part of it is that Facebook is still screwing with me. Facebook is still trying to make it a thing that I can't do this and I can't do that. It's like, golly, guys, stop. What is this? Here's a second link to the efforts of Joe McCoy in his home from a corrupt local government. Are we still dealing with that? This is the guy who's got the truck with the name on the side? Why are they still screwing with him? Oh, God. I think we had Joe McCoy on the show talking about how he was, they were messing with him and he had his Trump trailers on his road, on his property along the road, and somehow they think that they can tell people what they can and cannot do with their own property, and so he's dealing with that. I think we had him on about a year ago, so that's kind of crazy that that's still happening. Let me look back here, and let's go to this article and see what this is about. All right. Save Joe McCoy's home in a Patriot need. That we the Patriots Prayer Network are asking for your help. Joe McCoy is a proud Trump supporter who exercised the First Amendment right to place a sign supporting Trump on his 52-foot trailer. When it hit the front page news and millions loved it, then his town's selected board told Joe to remove it or pay a $500 fine, $500 day per $500 per day fine. Anyway, he refused and fought back. And this is one of these things that guys, we're not doing good. What was it? Tammy Perry, welcome. Oh, we got Tammy Perry here. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Kurt Angel won the gold medal in freestyle wrestling in 1996. He won the gold medal with a broken neck. Wow, that's cool. Comatas, is that what it is? Anyway, all right. Here's a second link to the efforts of Joe. He has lost over $85,000 in savings from legal fees. Leftist judges dismissed the case. He's living on $400 a month in disability. He lost his leg. He needs to raise about $6,000 the next few weeks for property tax, or he'll lose his home. Golly, guys, this is not the country I don't think we signed up for, is it? Did we do this? Yeah, we got things like this going on. Now, guys, listen, I know they're pain in the asses out there. Listen. This is the problem. It's a problem. This is the problem that's a problem, right? Problem that's a problem. I think I did that right. When we have some people who go out and just leave trash and junk and they're doing all this stuff and their property looks like hell and there is a health risk and other things like that, I mean, that's one thing. But this guy has a trailer that is fully operable, and he went out there and put about probably $1,000 of paint on the side of it. This is not somebody out there just forgetting to clean up their trash or that is a filthy person. Just like when they raided me, they kept coming after me for environmental tickets. I got 2 or 3 different environmental tickets for my house. One because my wood pile that I had, my wood pile was not stacked neat enough. And I'm not kidding you guys. The city of Wichita was fining me $200 and some odd because I did not stack the wood on my property pretty enough. I'm not kidding you. Another time was because I had a truck that didn't have a license plate visible from the street. And so they said that the vehicle was inoperable and untagged and unregistered or something like that. So then that was another ticket. And then there was another one I got, and I can't remember what that one was for. It was something really minor, trivial. But here's the problem. You got to go down and you have to go to court. But the court itself is, in front of a judge, but it's not judge and it's not court. He looks like a judge and it looks like a courtroom, but it's not. It's just administrative. And there's nothing you could do. There's no appeal process. There's no court times. There's no discovery, no nothing. You show up. There's a bunch of people on a list. You wait for your name to be called. And they go up there and they just fine you. And this is for like people who have like, they're slumlords or people who have all these junk cars and trees and trash and that kind of stuff where it becomes a health hazard. I got that. But they were using that little law just to screw with me over and over and over again. This is dumb. So, all right, what we got? Protect and serve. Yeah, well, they want to make sure my wood was stacked right so that I would be better. I don't know. It sounds good. It sounds like a good story. But it's not. So anyway, going back to what do we got here? What if you plead not guilty? Well, no, there wasn't even a plea of not guilty. Like I said, that was like you go up there, there's a judge and there's a recorder and there's like this DA person and there's a whole thing going on, but you really weren't there to state like, oh, okay, on the 14th I was this, or oh, on the 17th this happened, or this is what happened. It's kind of like, hey, we got a ticket here. It's kind of like a speeding ticket. Really not a lot you can do except for defer it or try to just pay it and make it not go on your record. That's kind of what the whole thing of it is. It's like I said, it's not court. It says it's court, but it's not court. It's called environmental court. It's administrative. There's no like, hey, I want a jury of my peers. I want evidence. I want to cross-reference the person who alleged made this. No. That's you just got to take it. It's really bad, guys, and I don't know what to say about it. I like to say, oh no, that doesn't happen in my country, but it does. Yeah. But it does. It does. That's what it does. Violated Jim. Well, I know, Ed, but it sounds like they're violating me, but, guys, I can't take it too personal. The fact that is they want to go out and use those kind of things against me, that they think that is somehow their justice moment, that they can come after me and do these things. I don't know. I am really ashamed of them and how it really looks. They could do better. So, anyway, what we got here? All right. Continuing back on the news of the day, we'll go on that. By the way, if you guys want to talk about the Christmas season and things like that, we could talk about those things. I know that this is a time for a lot of people to be hustling around, trying to figure out what they're doing for their Christmas time. I hope a lot of you guys are either have traveled or going to travel, or at least be with your neighbors, friends, or family, because that's what this is about. Sit around, be uncomfortable, hold all your farts in until you leave at the end of the day. I mean, this is what we're all doing for each other, right? But guys, do not find yourself alone. Do not find yourself wishing that you would have called or done something. I don't have a lot, but I would share it with just about anybody I could think of, because that's what we're doing. So we'll see how all that goes. But anyway, Christmas is busy. A lot of people out there doing the thing. A lot of people traveling. This is the longer Christmas holiday because of the rotation of the Gregorian calendar that we are using. This is where Christmas falls on that Thursday, which makes it kind of an odd week where, well, you don't want to really work Monday, Tuesday. You don't want to really work Friday, and you don't want to work the Friday or Monday, Tuesday right before New Year's, and you don't want to work the Friday after the New Year's Day. And so it almost turns into like a 2 or 3 week, reset of things that people just get to take a lot of time off, which is nice. It's a nice thing. Edward says, I feel like I'm having Tourette fits out loud. Oh, well. Ed, you're just crazy. It's not Tourette's. You're just a lunatic. It's okay. And I'm here to help, just like the government. So don't forget that. When we think about this time and one of the things we're going through and how it seems like it's a little unfair, we should be better, this and that, guys. Yeah. This is kind of allows us to do a little reset, allows us to look at things and say, well, maybe I could have been a better person, or I could have done this, or I could have done that. And like I said, we want to give gifts only because we think of others and we want them to have nice things just like we have, and we want to elevate each other's. Rising tides raises all boats. If we're all giving to each other, think about how great it is. 8 billion people wake up tomorrow trying to be 10% nicer to each other all day long or all year long. It'd just be an amazing place here on Earth, I think. I think that's where it goes. So anyway, continuing on here. Grass. Take the R out of it. Gas prices are at a 5-year low, almost 5-year low. We're going back into the Trump administration for the low prices that we are all paying at the gas pump, which means a lot of people, even during this Christmas season, are paying far less than what they have paid all year long. But usually at Christmas time, during Thanksgiving to Christmas time, we watch them jack those prices up and then just screw us to it. That's not what's happening this time. It's going to be different. Remember that girl Jasmine Crockett? Well, she's calling J.D. Vance a racist. I don't know what to say about that. Okay, you got me. It's how it goes. Nearly 100 Minnesota mayors sent panicked letter to lawmakers complaining about fraud scandal and the leadership of Tim Walz. Remember that whole thing up there in Minnesota that, there's this it's the Somalis that are victims. They weren't the ones doing it. It was other people that were using their names and other people that were manipulating them. It was not the Somalis. So let's hear about this, right? Almost 100 mayors in the state of Minnesota have sent a letter to state lawmakers complaining about the fraud scandal and how it is going to impact the communities they serve. Oh, I thought they were actually trying to hold him accountable, but it sounds like they just don't like the fact that this is going to, dump their local budgets because they've been leaning so hard on the fraud money to maintain the budgets that when that money gets yanked back, suddenly their entire business model collapses because the fraud isn't there. And they've been living off of the fraud for too long, and they don't know how to live without it. So maybe we'll see if this article tells us that. They are clearly not happy with the leadership of Walz and his connection to the fraud scandal. The scandal is still unfolding. It is unclear what the final tally will be, but it looks like something in the tens of millions. Now, I've seen up to hundreds of billions now. And, so they're saying tens of billions. I'm saying hundreds of billions. Yeah, what's a zero between friends, right? Just 1 0. You add a zero, it becomes hundreds. If you take a zero away, it's thousands. All right, okay. Anyway, it's shaping up to be the largest theft of taxpayer dollars in history. Oops. That doesn't good. Fraud, unchecked spending, and inconsistent fiscal management in St. Paul have trickled down to our cities, reducing our capacity to plan responsibly, maintain infrastructure, and hire and retain employees. The substance core substance. Cities across the state now face workforce shortages. See, I told you guys. This is not about them calling out the fraud and how bad it really is and who should be accountable. But what they're now looking, we're gonna read this part. I'm kind of foreshadowing. Maybe I haven't read this article yet, so you guys are learning with me. Cities across the state now face workforce shortages, slowed business investment, and rising operation and construction costs, and families choosing to leave Minnesota altogether, the letter states. There is a growing connection between state-level fiscal decisions and the strain that they may place on cities. When the state expands programs and shifts responsibilities without stable funding, It is our residents, families, seniors, business workers who ultimately bear the cost. So they aren't doing it because there was a whole bunch of fraud, but they were doing it because they were living off the fraud. Now they have to figure out how not to be a part or live on the fraud. Are we supposed to care? Are we supposed to like, oh, let's hurry and get them some money because it just sounds horrible, right? No. I don't know if you guys saw the other day, Steelers receiver was suspended at the Lions game the other night on Monday night. Was it Monday night or Sunday night? Sunday night. He got in an altercation with one of the fans and punched at the kid who was obviously talking shit to him or whatever and got him all big mad, and so now he's going to be suspended. Here's the thing. That little swing at that kid's going to cost him $550,000. $500,000 for one swing that didn't land. And he'll be suspended for 2 games, which also affects his total amount of guaranteed pay. He has a $50 million guaranteed pay, and when he has these kind of things where he loses game day stuff, well, when he loses game day stuff, then he actually loses his salary cap. It's actually kind of pretty ingenious that they were able to put that in there. So just kind of going around the table, guys, there's a lot of weird stuff going on out there in this world. And to say that a guy swung at somebody on a Sunday night football in Indianapolis at the Colts game between the Steelers and the Colts, he is up there swinging at him, and it cost you $550,000 plus part of your total guaranteed of $50 million. Yeah. So, again, here we go. This is what the world around us looks like, and we've got to be prepared for it. Guys, I'm going to slow the whole thing down, and I'm going to quit talking about Christmas. I'm going to not Christmas, but I'm going to quit talking about the news, and I think we all want to think about why we're here and what we're doing. Now, I'm only going to go for a little bit here, and we're going to end probably early. It depends on how this monologue goes here about it. But I want you guys to think about a few things here, and I know that we're all excited about Christmas, and we're all excited about seeing each other, and we all got our little peppermint cookies out, the German peppermint cookies, and we've got our different nut bowls out there with the little nut crackers and the little pick that you can put your Coke on or pick out the walnuts out of, and then you got the Christmas candy, the hard candy sitting there in the little candy dish, and they're all big one clump, and they're hard as a rock. And you've all got your mistletoe hanging from the hallway there or near the living room. Thinking about the decorations for the house, thinking about the decorations for the table, thinking about the pumpkin pies that you're going to make. How many fresh, homemade pumpkin pies with real homemade pie crust, which I think is like three ingredients. Pumpkin pie mix, which I think is 1 ingredient out of a can, and then an oven. And then you put a little tin foil on the top there so that the edges of your crust don't get burnt. You put a little tin foil around that outside edge, and you're using a glass dish. That way that dough gets nice and crisp and firm. And you make about 20 of those because I'm going to eat 19 of them. But we're all worried about whether we got some stocking stuffers or we got the candy canes and we got the stockings hung by the chimney with care, because when we used to hang the stockings by the chimney with care, we put our Amanita muscaria mushrooms, the red cap with white dot mushrooms, in those socks, and we hung them near the fireplace so that it would slowly dry out those Amanita muscaria mushrooms. And then those mushrooms would be used in a tea or a broth where the Amanita mushrooms were broken down. And during this time, this winter solstice, they would then celebrate the ancestors who passed down the knowledge generation after generation, going back to the Nordic gods. But remember, we're going to lie to ourselves here in about 2 or 3 days, and we're all going to see a whole bunch of manger scenes across this country. It's got 3 wise men showing up on the night of the Jesus' birth, which was the new sun, which was the winter solstice, and not the birth of Jesus in September, but when we have the new sun at the winter solstice. But we don't want to have that conversation, do we? We want to make sure we just keep it all like this. Well, we're going to remember that those wise men did not show up in Bethlehem, and neither did Jesus in the way they describe it. By the way, there was not a stable, there was not a wooden feed trough called a manger, called a food trough, called where we bed down the large animals. No, that's not how that worked back then, and we don't even really pay attention to how the housing structure or the traditions of the day, where animals and people, well, the people who lived there would get the priority of the rooms, but these people were poor, and everything they lived in was basically one room. And so if she was going to have the baby, she was going to do it in front of everybody. And that's how that works. But we can't have that conversation, can we? We can't have the conversation about the fact that Santa Claus was actually a made-up advertisement from Coca-Cola back in the early 1900s. We can't talk about Krampus. We can't talk about the evil of what he really was, and he would come to steal your children in the middle of the night. Let's not talk about those things because, well, we mix Christmas with Santa Claus. Then we take Christmas and Santa Claus, we mix it in there with a little bit of Jesus, and then we got the manger scene, and then we got the wise man showing up, and then we're all talking about how the reason of the season is for a man who's born for our salvation, but Muslims and Jewish people do not believe in them whatsoever. Jewish people hate the Muslims and the whites, and the Muslim people hate the Jews and the whites. So again, the whites seem to be the ones that are, over and over again being hated by those two Jewish and Muslim religions, while Christianity is considered to be pagan religion. It's supposed to be outside of God's word. So if we're all wanting to support the Jewish religion and we're all Jewish all of a sudden, well, maybe we understand what Judaism really is, or what Muslim is really, and really know what they're trying to do and what their real reason for being who they are. That brings us back to Christmas. There's a lot of people out there who want to destroy things and make things worse because we're out there letting our guard down and wanting to be soft and kind for each other. And that's where we all got to get a little bit, we got to get a little bit more scrupulous about the world around us. And was it wiki, a little scratch in there on my record player. Edward says Krampus, evil. All right. Yeah, that's the way it goes, and that's where we can have that conversation. But we can't talk about that. We can't talk about Easter or the god, Easter, the god of fertility. We can't say that. Well, it's Easter when Jesus rose again. Well, was it? But again, like I said, I just keep going back around and go back around and want to say these things out loud. And I don't want to get down in there and burn any bridges or anything like that. But remember, guys, I want you guys to think about everything that I've said. And what's the one thing I consistently said? Come together, create community, be better for each other, and the world would be a better place. That's what this whole thing's about, is that we got to be better for each other. We got to be more authentic, and we become more real than we find ourselves. We find our liberty of the mind and freedom of the body. And that's how it works. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be about it for me. I don't want to go into, like I said earlier, a lot of the news of the day. There's a lot of things out there that are trying to kill us, and we're still trying to kill a lot of things out there that have nothing to do with peace, nothing to do with betterment of America. We're just following a bunch of people's little wishes to get their evilness on, get even with their debtors, get even with the people they hate, get even with the people they want to get rid of. I mean, this is what they do. So let's not play a part of that. Let's actually be better and be the right people we want to be, right? Not what they tell us we are. Don't live with the programming, but live life with purpose. All right, guys, that's going to be about it for me. I'm going to cut it a little short today. It's been awesome seeing you guys out there. Good stuff all the way. I appreciate all the input and all the information. We got one more show tomorrow, and it looks like it'll be slow. I think I'm going to try to talk about Christmas and other things like that. What I'm grateful for and what I've seen in my year and the past years. I'll maybe do a year in review. Maybe I'll even go back to some of my pictures of things I've done this year and kind of show you what I haven't put out there. Maybe this will be like a year in review, or we can do that next week with the New Year's, however you want to do it. But we do want to be thankful for each other. We do want to be thankful that we have this time, that we've slowed things down just a little bit to be able to talk to each other. And yeah, there's going to be billions of dollars spent on these next few days to make sure that everybody's just a little happy and got something to open up that makes them feel like they're a part of the family and part of the community. If you guys need anything at all whatsoever, get a hold of me. Make sure that you guys are never alone and always part of a family or community. And if I can't get you here, or maybe whatever it is, maybe I can find someone in your local area that you guys can connect and be better for each other. That's how we win this, guys, and that's how the world becomes a better place. All right, guys, that's going to be about it for me. Remember the 10% we do for our neighbor, community, city, county, state, the federal government. The more you do for them, less to do for you. Learn to be selfless and not so damn selfish. The world will be a far, far better place. Hey, Rebecca, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Remember, hold the line, hold fast. Do not give up. Do not give in. We'll win. I promise. I can't keep, guys. You've always been the answer out there. Remember that Constitution limits that government? Well, remember, it limits that government. Don't ever forget that part. Yeah, remember that? It limits the government. I'm going to keep saying it. Limits the government, but never, ever limits you. All right, guys, it's going to be about it for me. It's been great seeing you. Remember, we're going to go ahead and do it may be a short one. Just depends on how I feel about things, how things are going. But tomorrow I will do an episode. And why don't you guys come? Come with bells on. Let's see your Christmas sweaters. Let's get everybody out there. Let's get you guys out there posting your Christmas spirit, showing me your Christmas dog sweaters, showing me your Christmas sweater you have, showing me what you guys have done with your house. I want to see tomorrow. I want you guys coming with the receipts, the recipes, how you made it, what you did, what you spent. Let's do it. Give me the Christmas lights. Give me the Christmas sweaters. Give me a Christmas tree. That's what I want to see out there on the comments tomorrow. I want everybody to be fully involved. And let's get together and be amazing for each other. I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. You guys all be good to each other out there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.